Hello and a very warm welcome. You are watching Gravitas. I'm Molly Kampir. Let's get started. Our top focus tonight on Gravitas is on the escalating Strait of Hormuz war as the tensions spill over across West Asia. Iran and the U.S. engage in that high-voltage tussle for control over the crucial waterway. Both Iran and the U.S. claim to be guardians of the strait. In a first, U.S. forces have used naval drones in combat operations. Iran has unleashed monster missiles, in fact, on U.S. bases over the last 24 hours, as President Donald Trump vowed to reinstate the American blockade of Iranian ports and charge ships for safe passage through the strait. Also on the show for you tonight, what happens when terrorists resort to using AI as a killer weapon? We get you a Gravitas special report. What's the story behind Vladimir Putin's cheap new shock weapon that is unleashing havoc in Ukraine? Balochistan Liberation Army claims control of over 80% of the territory. We explain what that means and the bigger picture. We get you an in-depth analysis of how oil has become the biggest casualty amid the raging conflicts and the ripple effects. Has Japan become a Russian den of spies? We tell you why this question is being asked. A woman in South India has been held for allegedly trying to influence a judge through black magic. Scientists have discovered a dangerous minefield in space. We tell you what that means. Are they smart glasses or smart surveillance? We tell you how Meta's privacy battle is deepening. Why exactly do cats lick each other? What's the story there? We get you the answers. All this and a lot more coming your way. As the Hormuz war escalates, both Iran and the U.S. claim to be guardians of the crucial waterway. In a first, U.S. forces have used sea drones in combat operations. Iran has unleashed its advanced ballistic missile arsenal. It fired monster missiles on American bases, including the Fatah and Kebeshakan. According to the IRGC, it hit the U.S. Fifth Fleet in Bahrain Air Base in Jordan as well. Trump now saying the Strait of Hormuz is open to all except Iran. The 20% reimbursement fee replaced with the trade deals. A lot has happened in just the last 24 hours. In fact, the U.S. military has carried out that third night of strikes against Iran earlier after President Donald Trump said he is reinstating its blockade of Iranian shipping. Remember, Trump earlier declared the United States would ensure the Hormuz Strait is open and said it would be charging a fee. And here's how Iran has been responding to that announcement earlier in developments that have been crucial. The Iranian foreign minister also earlier put out this post, I'm quoting, "The President of the United States is absolutely right. Whoever provides secure and safe passage of commercial vessels through the Strait of Hormuz should be compensated for this service. Iran has always been the guardian of the strait and will remain so forever. 20% is, of course, too much. We will be fair." Note the sentiment in that statement. But you see, that's just one layer to this complex cycle and the series of developments. In fact, Trump is also demanding that the Gulf allies reimburse America for the costs of securing the strait. That's what he had said earlier. In fact, he specifically named Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait as countries that need to pay. In fact, the world has long considered the strait, which passes the coastlines of Iran as well as Oman, as a free-to-use international waterway. Both Iran and the US want to control it. In fact, according to the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, established in 1982, remember, no country has the right to claim international waters and all ships have the right of unimpeded passage. But then still, both Iran and America have been using their tactics and tools to try and exert control, pressure. Earlier, the International Maritime Organization also reacted, saying that passage through the strait should remain free of any tolls and charges in accordance with the international law. And as the two sides engaged in that high-voltage tussle for control over the Strait of Hormuz, the U.S. launched strikes on Iran after President Trump vowed to reinstate the American blockade of Iranian ports. Iran responded with attacks on West Asia allies of the U.S. In fact, in a first, U.S. forces also used naval drones in combat operations. The U.S. military said it used one-way attack sea drones for the first time in combat in an attack on an Iranian naval port. The U.S. Central Command has said using multiple one-way attack surface drones, CENTCOM forces struck a submarine and ship maintenance facility in Iran. 3 unmanned surface vessels hit the port at Bandar Abbas Naval Base, marking the first time American forces have employed sea drones in combat operations. A video released by CENTCOM showing an aerial view, basically, of 3 small sea drones speeding towards a raised dock that appeared to be holding a small submarine and then exploding. Watch those images. Now, it has been unclear from the video how much damage was actually caused, but there were plumes of smoke. That was the video that CENTCOM had put out. The last blast also appeared to cause a large fire. A lot of significance as far as these visuals are concerned. Remember, Ukraine has also made extensive use of naval drones against Russian ships in the Black Sea. For Kiev, inexpensive naval drones have been a game changer. The Central Command identified the sea drones used in the attack on Sunday. Let's tell you more about what is known as of now reportedly as far as these drones are concerned, the sea drones as they are being called. A 24-foot-long unmanned boat, basically. It was reportedly the same type of boat used to rescue the 2-person crew from a U.S. Apache helicopter gunship that went down near the Strait of Hormuz last month. That was said to be the first U.S. rescue carried out by an autonomous surface vessel. In fact, it can reportedly travel at speeds of up to 35 knots and can also carry a load of up to 1,000 pounds, more than 1,000 nautical miles. That's what is known right now as far as these sea drones are concerned. They have been used by the U.S. for the first time in such an attack. Meanwhile, as the entire region also grapples with an increasingly precarious situation, as of now, Bahrain and Jordan earlier said they had intercepted new Iranian attacks on Tuesday as Tehran retaliated with the missiles and drones across the region. The UAE said at least 2 tankers came under Iranian fire in the Strait of Hormuz. So a lot has been happening across the region. Earlier, Iran also said U.S. strikes hit an Iranian border area near Iraq and Kuwait as the fighting between the two sides continued. Meanwhile, India summoned Iran's senior diplomat in New Delhi to protest against attacks on 2 commercial vessels in the Strait of Hormuz that killed an Indian seafarer and injured several others. India summoned the Iranian deputy ambassador in New Delhi today after an Indian seafarer was killed when Iran struck 2 UAE-owned tankers reportedly in the Strait of Hormuz. The move coming as India expressed concern over the safety of its large seafaring community, with thousands of Indian nationals working on merchant vessels across the region. Indian officials have condemned the attack, which took place on Monday in Omani territorial waters, reportedly. Meanwhile, the U.S. military's official tally of deaths in the Iran war has risen to 14 service members, reportedly, with the deaths of a Navy pilot in a helicopter crash in early July in the Arabian Sea, as reported. The number of injured troops from the conflict also has grown to more than 400 as of Monday. That's what the figures look like. According to the spokesman for the U.S. Central Command, the majority of them suffered traumatic brain injuries. The U.S. Central Command did not quite offer any details reportedly on the specific airman, but traumatic brain injuries that have defined most of the injuries in the war are an increasingly persistent problem among combat forces, especially those subjected to missile strikes and explosions that hit nearby, reportedly. And while the injury, along with post-traumatic stress disorder, has become one of the signature wounds among veterans of the post-9/11 era, the impact on the troops, especially long-term, are still poorly understood as of now, reportedly. In fact, America threatening to exert pressure, both sides have been using their tactics as far as the crucial waterway is concerned. But will America and Iran's strategy work, and in which direction? Experts reportedly also commenting on America's tactics, saying it will require a much bigger armada, if not tens of thousands of American troops, for example. Will Trump or Iran back down? Or will we see further volatility in the region with ripple effects around the world? Shifting focus for now, artificial intelligence was built to answer questions, help us solve problems, and boost productivity. But intelligence, it seems, has no ideology. And that is becoming one of its biggest dangers. Security agencies are now confronting a chilling reality. Terror groups are trying to turn everyday AI chatbots into digital weapons. Take a look.
The next terror attack may not begin inside a secret training camp. It could begin with a simple question typed into a chatbot. That is the warning emerging from a growing body of intelligence assessments. As artificial intelligence becomes more powerful and widely available, extremist groups are increasingly testing its limits, probing whether it can help them plan, recruit, and refine attacks. According to a new research from the University of Cambridge, terror group Boko Haram is using ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Grok, Meta AI, and DeepSeek to assist in combat and day-to-day operations. The study, based on interviews with former Boko Haram members, claims that the group used AI to troubleshoot weapon malfunctions, analyze failed attacks, review battlefield footage, and improve tactics.
Former commanders say the chatbots act like helpful experts on how to make deadlier explosives and smarter battlefield moves. This surprising shift shows how everyday AI is falling into the hands of terrorists, a dangerous sign of what's threats to come.
Boko Haram emerged in northeastern Nigeria in the early 2000s and launched an insurgency in 2009 with the goal of establishing a hardline Islamist state. Since then, the conflict has claimed an estimated 43,000 lives and displaced more than 3 million people across Nigeria, Niger, Chad, and Cameroon. Now the concern is that terrorists are trying to make AI their assistant. Researchers warn that generative AI can rapidly process information, summarize technical material, translate extremist propaganda into multiple languages, and help create convincing fake identities for online recruitment. Deepfake technology is another growing threat. Experts fear AI-generated videos and cloned voices could be used to impersonate government officials, spread panic during crises, or issue fake military announcements designed to trigger confusion earlier or during an attack. Cybersecurity is another battlefield. Security analysts have warned that AI can help inexperienced hackers write malicious code faster, automate phishing campaigns, and identify software vulnerabilities. This is not just a theoretical concern. The United Nations, Europol, and several national security agencies have repeatedly warned that AI could amplify terrorism by accelerating propaganda, recruitment, operational planning, and disinformation if adequate safeguards are not enforced. Researchers have also highlighted the risk of autonomous drones powered by AI being repurposed by non-state actors. The AI industry insists that guardrails are improving. Leading companies continuously update their models to reject requests involving weapons, explosives, and violent crimes. The uncomfortable truth is that the very intelligence built to help humanity is now being turned prompt by prompt into a weapon of war. And the race to build stronger guardrails is running behind schedule to break them. With Louisa Olanyi in Lagos, Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Shifting focus, the war in Ukraine has escalated into a brutal new phase driven by terrifying high-impact aerial weapons, while Moscow deploys revamped Soviet-era giants to completely flatten frontline defensive lines. Ukraine, meanwhile, is hitting back deep inside Russian territory. This explosive dynamic has pushed civilian casualties to a devastating multi-year high, forcing a desperate scramble for new air defense architecture. Take a look.
The explosion comes first, then the dust swallows everything. There is no towering missile, no supersonic strike. Just a devastating blast that tears through trenches, bunkers, and buildings, leaving behind a crater where a defensive position once stood. This is the Fab 3000, a Soviet-era bomb weighing around 3 tons that Russia has brought back with a deadly upgrade. Originally designed as a free-fall bomb, the Fab 3000 has now been fitted with a correction module. In simple terms, it has become a glide bomb. Released from aircraft far behind the front line, it spreads its wings, uses satellite guidance, and glides towards its target, allowing Russian jets to stay beyond much of Ukraine's air defense envelope. The bomb carries nearly 3 tons of high explosives. It is designed not for precision against a single vehicle, but for obliterating fortified positions, command centers, and troop concentrations over a wide area. Unlike expensive cruise missiles, these converted bombs are relatively cheap, can be produced in large numbers, and are launched in relentless waves by Russian forces. The return of the Fab 3000 comes as Russia intensifies its wider offensive. Kyiv has faced fresh waves of missiles and drones, while Russia continues pressing along multiple sectors of the front. According to the United Nations, June was the deadliest month for Ukrainian civilians in more than 4 years, underlining the growing human cost of the war. President Vladimir Putin warns that Russia is only going to increase the intensity of attacks.
Our responses will always be mirror-like. Wherever they attempt to strike the Russian territory, we will respond in kind, but our strikes will be several times more powerful. The enemy will feel it. It is already feeling it, I hope, and it will continue to feel it on an escalating scale.
Ukraine is hitting back. Long-range drones have struck oil refineries deep inside Russia. The latest attack targeted Salavat refinery located around 1,300 kilometers of Russia's border with Ukraine. Across Europe, 9 countries have now joined forces to strengthen ballistic missile defense, reflecting growing concern that the conflict is entering an even more dangerous phase. The war is evolving. Cheap bombs are causing strategic damage, and every new adaptation is forcing the other side to find a new answer. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Balochistan stands at a crucial juncture. Despite all attempts by the Pakistan Army Chief Asim Munir's forces to try and crush the dissenting voices, the unrest is showing no signs of slowing down. A prominent human rights activist has now declared that Pakistan has lost control over majority of Balochistan. Miryar Baloch, who had proclaimed the independence of Balochistan last year, has claimed that rebel forces controlled 85% of the province's territory, 85%. He also said that Balochistan had adopted its own national anthem, national flag, and currency. That's not even all. According to him, they also control Balochistan's gold and copper mines, over 150 gas fields, 1,200 coal mines. Calling upon the world to recognize Balochistan's independence, he asserted that 500,000 personnel are ready to throw out Pakistani forces from the province by the end of this year itself. It's a major statement. And it also comes at a time when Balochistan remains on the boil. Last week, Pakistan military revealed that at least 42 people, most of whom were security personnel, were killed in 3 attacks by the Baloch insurgents. And in subsequent operations, Pakistani forces claimed to have killed 121 militants. Earlier, Jamaat Ulema-e-Islam chief and a veteran member of parliament, Fazlur Rahman, also admitted that Pakistan had lost its grip over Balochistan. Here's what was said.
Balochistan mein, Baloch ilaqon mein बगावतें थी पूरा बलोच इलाका पाकिस्तान के इख्तियार से निकल चुका था आज भी वहां पर पाकिस्तान हुकूमत की कोई रिट मौजूद नहीं है
In fact, while Balochistan's quest for freedom dates back to inception of Pakistan, Islamabad has intensified its crackdown over the last few decades. The killing of Nawab Akbar Bukti, a former chief minister and governor in the year 2006, further fueled the uprising against the Pakistani state. Enforced disappearances of Baloch people has become an international issue. Dr. Mehrang Baloch, who was at the forefront of raising these issues, was recently sentenced to life imprisonment. This provoked global outrage, with UN human rights experts dubbing this a travesty of justice and an attempt to suppress peaceful demonstrations. This year itself, Balochistan has witnessed 334 incidents of killing. According to the South Asia Terrorism Portal, 288 civilians, 520 security personnel have lost their lives. On the other hand, over 570 militants have been killed. Now, Pakistan has long struggled to contain activities of the Baloch rebels who are seeking independence of Balochistan from the country. In the month of May, over 30 people were killed after a suicide bomber rammed an explosive-laden car into a train in Quetta, which was carrying Pakistani security personnel and their families. In January this year, the Baloch Liberation Army, BLA, launched the operation by launching simultaneous attacks in 10 cities and claimed to have killed 220 security personnel. A month later, it claimed to have captured 17 Pakistani soldiers and reportedly executed 7 of them, allegedly. The biggest blow to Munir's forces, meanwhile, came last year when the BLA hijacked a passenger train, the Jafar Express, going from Quetta to Peshawar. Back then, it reportedly took 214 people, including military personnel, hostage for close to 30 hours. While the authorities highlighted that 18 soldiers and paramilitary personnel were killed and over 340 passengers were freed, the BLA said its fighters executed all hostages as Pakistan did not agree to a prisoner exchange. Meanwhile, as Asim Munir's forces continue the crackdown on peaceful protesters in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, India has urged the international community to hold Pakistan fully accountable for its egregious abuses and misdeeds. Listen to this.
The ongoing protests in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir are a direct consequence of Pakistan's decades-long systemic exploitation, denial of fundamental rights, and administrative oppression in areas under its illegal enforceable occupation. Rather than addressing the legitimate grievances of the local population, the Pakistani state has responded with excessive police brutality.
And even as the turbulence is only growing in Balochistan, as well as POK, Munir's actions so far suggest that there is little likelihood of any change in the Pakistan forces' approach towards upholding the democratic rights of the people. Time now at the global headlines at this hour, taking you around the world in 120 seconds. Take a look.
At least 9 Palestinians were killed by Israeli fire and airstrikes in the war-torn Gaza Strip. The Nasser Hospital in Khan Yunis said it has received the body of a child who was shot and killed by Israeli soldiers. In the Muwasi area, west of Gaza's southernmost city of Rafah. Elsewhere, an Israeli airstrike hit a tent sheltering a displaced family in the Qadzia camp. In the Muwasi area, killing a man. Meanwhile, 7 people were killed in an airstrike in a densely populated market area in the Jabalia refugee camp in northern Gaza. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guards fired missiles towards U.S. bases in the Gulf region. Footage released by Iran's state television shows Fatah, Khaibar Shekan, Fateh 110 and Solfakar missiles launched towards predetermined targets. Iran and the United States launched new attacks on Tuesday as they battled over control of the Strait of Hormuz. Heavy rains from Typhoon Bawi entered parts of northeastern China, triggering floods, river warnings, and emergency evacuations across Liaoning and Jilin provinces. In Shenyang, some areas recorded more than 450 millimeters of rainfall after downpours began on Sunday. Floodwaters surrounded residential compounds in Hunan district, trapping residents inside. The storm pushed several rivers above warning levels, while more than 80 reservoirs in Liaoning exceeded their flood season limits and began controlled discharges. Britain and the European Union formally signed a treaty on the status of Gibraltar aimed at easing border crossings. Gibraltar residents can now cross over to Spain using residence cards without needing to have their passports stamped, while Spanish citizens can cross using a government ID card. Those arriving at Gibraltar Airport will show their passports to both Gibraltar and Spanish border officers. Britain wants a system similar to French police operating at the London St Pancras railway station for the Eurostar service. Britain won Gibraltar, a strategically important enclave at the southern tip of Spain, in the 1713 Treaty of Utrecht, which ended the War of Spanish Succession. Troops and warplanes from around Europe joined Bastille Day parade through Paris in a show of support for Ukraine and a symbolic flexing of European military muscle. On Emmanuel Macron's last Bastille Day as president, he hosted around 30 other leaders for an event that appeared aimed at showing both Russian President Vladimir Putin and US President Donald Trump that Europe is united and stepping up to defend itself.
What if one of America's closest allies has become a so-called den for Russian spies? A New York Times investigation reportedly alleges that Russia has turned Japan into a key hub for espionage, covert procurement, and the sourcing of critical technology for the Russia-Ukraine war. And the revelations have led to the Japanese government acknowledging that it must urgently strengthen its intelligence and counter-espionage capabilities. Let's break it down. Japan's chief government spokesperson has said the country faces a rapidly changing security environment and must do more to prevent foreign operatives from acquiring sensitive information that threatens national security. He said Tokyo must address the challenge with greater rigor, quote unquote. The spokesperson also noted that Japan's parliament has approved the legislation to establish a new national body that will basically coordinate the country's fragmented intelligence system. Japan has long relied on multiple agencies rather than a single foreign intelligence service. According to the reports, post-Second World War legal constraints have left Japan with comparatively weak espionage laws, making it vulnerable, reportedly, to foreign intelligence operations. Tokyo is now moving towards forming a more centralized intelligence structure. Citing Ukrainian government estimates, around 90% of Russian missiles and drones reportedly contain Japanese-made components, reportedly. It also highlighted an investigation into the wreckage of a Russian cruise missile that struck a residential building in Kiev, reportedly in May, where the investigators recovered Japanese components, reportedly, despite export restrictions. It's a significant development. The investigation further alleging that Russia's operations in Japan are directed by an intelligence officer operating undercover at the Tokyo office of the state-owned airline. It said a secretive Russian military intelligence unit known as the 20th Directorate uses officers posing as diplomats and businessmen to obtain or steal battlefield technology. According to the report, the procurement networks bypass export controls by routing microchips, transmitters, machinery used to manufacture weapons and other components through intermediary companies and third countries, reportedly including Vietnam, Uzbekistan, and Sri Lanka. And this is not an isolated case, reportedly. Reports say Moscow has been using countries like Turkey, China, Kazakhstan, Germany as third-party countries to procure key arms and technology to bypass restrictions. According to reports, after hundreds of Russian intelligence operatives were expelled from Europe and North America following the commencement of the Russia-Ukraine war in 2022, many allegedly shifted their operations to Japan, allowing Moscow to basically rebuild procurement and intelligence networks from Japanese territory. Our next story is from India. In a sequence of events that may resemble a thriller film, an American national was reportedly caught in India at the border without a passport while trying to cross into Nepal, allegedly. This unfolded 3 days ago. when India's SSB noticed Brown moving towards the border. This was in a district of Uttar Pradesh. After he attempted to flee from the scene, he was arrested and taken to the agency's headquarters for questioning. However, his travel history has deepened the mystery. Brown told the UP police that he initially traveled to Thailand on a tourist visa, where he claimed to have lost his passport. From there, he reached Sri Lanka via the sea route. Subsequently, he claimed to have arrived in the Indian state of Goa on November 2nd last year, again via sea. While he stayed there in Goa for a long time, he then reportedly moved to Bengaluru. As per reports, he boarded a bus to reach Lucknow on the 8th of July before proceeding to Gorakhpur, from where he hailed a taxi to reach the Nepal border. According to a senior UP police official, the US national has been booked under sections dealing with entering India without a valid passport. If proven guilty, he faces up to 5 years in jail and a fine of up to 5 lakh rupees.
His claims are currently being verified. A case has been registered against him at the Sonauli police station under sections 21-23 of the Immigration and Foreigners Act for entering India without valid documents, and further legal proceedings are underway.
What is also added to the intrigue, in fact, is that a number of claims by him are yet to be verified. For instance, he reportedly told the investigators that he served in the US Navy and Special Forces for 6 years and quit the military service nearly 2 years ago. Not just that, he also claimed to have traveled to 70 countries. According to him, he married an Indian yoga instructor hailing from Uttarakhand in October 2024. But then why did he want to visit Nepal is the immediate question. Brown claims that he wanted to meet a Nepalese national whom he had met in Goa earlier. However, he was unable to provide any address or any details as such about this individual. The US Embassy has been informed about his arrest. While no national security threat has come to the fore in this case so far, concerns are being raised over foreigners reportedly moving across India under suspicious circumstances. For instance, in March this year, the NIA arrested a US citizen along with 6 Ukrainian nationals for allegedly entering India from Myanmar through the Mizoram border. According to the agency, they were part of a conspiracy allegedly to carry out terrorist activities against India. Shifting focus to a massive political controversy that has erupted between Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh over the first Aarti at the Tirupati temple. A day after the Karnataka Chief Minister announced a proposal to allow the legislators and other dignitaries from the state to participate in the first Aarti at the temple, a trust member has rejected it as a unilateral proposal. In a statement, the TDD trust member, in fact, urged Shivakumar not to do politics, quote-unquote, over the temple ritual. Reddy also said that if Karnataka's demand was accepted, other states like Tamil Nadu and Kerala would also make similar demands. Listen to this.
Karnataka Mukhyamantri
DK Shivakumar said he is planning to introduce a new proposal to allow MLAs, ministers and officers to attend the Mangal Arati. This is not right. These privileges were granted to the Mysora Maharaja. They are not for you, your cabinet or your MLAs.
In fact, on Monday, the Karnataka Chief Minister had announced that the state government will introduce a formal protocol governing the state's official representation during the first Aarti at the temple in Tirupati. And according to the current temple traditions, the first Aarti of the day at the temple is offered in the name of Karnataka. The practice is rooted in the historical patronage extended by various Karnataka-based dynasties to the shrine. Currently, the ceremonial honor is received by a designated special officer of the Karnataka government. Shivakumar now basically intends to extend this to legislators and other dignitaries from Karnataka. Tributes continue to pour in for Sri Nandkishore Goenka, the philanthropist and visionary who passed away in Mumbai on Monday. The patriarch of the SL Group family breathed his last peacefully at the age of 96.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi showered rich praise in his personal letter on Sri Nandakishore Goenka's blessed life, filled with selfless public service. PM Modi penned a touching condolence letter to SL Group chairman and former lawmaker Dr. Subhash Chandra, paying condolences for the loss of his father. In his letter, PM wrote, and I quote, "He not only strengthened business traditions but also fulfilled his responsibilities towards society with sincerity. His service to the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, his organizational spirit and his commitment to the principle of nation first made his life an example of simplicity and public welfare." Born on September 28, 1930, Sri Nandakishore Goenka decided to devote his life to the grassroots social transformation of the society. Being a committed Swayamsevak of RSS, he spent years of his life organizing social events and promoting social harmony among people. The Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, in a post on X, expressed grief over Sri Goenka's demise and lauded his efforts for social work and cow welfare. People from all across thronged his ancestral home in Hisar to pay their last respects to the great philanthropist and visionary. The mortal remains of Sri Goenka was brought from Mumbai to his hometown in Hisar on Tuesday. His last rites will be performed on Wednesday. The final rites will take place at Goenka Garden in Agroha Dham. Sri Nandakishore Goenka's life was defined by strong values, humility, compassion and unwavering dedication to serve the society. Through his quiet acts of generosity and dedication to community welfare, he touched the lives of many.
Above our heads, a rather invisible danger seems to be growing. It cannot be seen from planet Earth. It carries no warning lights as such, yet it has the power to cripple the satellites modern civilization depends on. Scientists now say space is developing what can be called a dangerous minefield. Take a look.
Every second, the modern world relies on a silent network operating hundreds of miles above our heads. It powers our navigation, secures global communications, and monitors national security threats. That Insta reel we watch or the WhatsApp message we send, everything is linked via the satellites. Thousands of kilometers above Earth, countless pieces of metal are racing through space at speeds of more than 25,000 kilometers an hour. Most are no bigger than a bolt, a paint chip, or a broken panel. But at those speeds, even a fragment the size of a coin can punch through a satellite like a bullet. Scientists have now identified a vast cloud of space debris in one of the busiest orbital highways around Earth. This region is home to many of the world's most valuable satellites. The debris comes from decades of rocket launches, satellite breakups, accidental collisions, and anti-satellite weapon tests. Every new collision creates even more fragments, making space increasingly crowded. The greatest fear is something known as the Kessler syndrome. This is basically a chain reaction. One satellite crashes into another. That collision creates thousands of new pieces of debris. Those fragments then hit more satellites, creating even more debris. The process repeats until entire orbital regions become too dangerous for spacecraft. The timing could not be more critical. From America's SpaceX to Chinese companies to India's ISRO, all are launching satellites at record pace. Mega constellations containing thousands of spacecraft are rapidly filling Earth's orbit. That means there are now more valuable targets than ever before. Space is no longer empty. It is becoming crowded. And every new launch adds to the challenge of avoiding the invisible debris already circling the planet. The next great space race may not be about reaching Mars. It may be about cleaning up the mess surrounding Earth before it becomes impossible to escape. Bureau Report, WION World is one.
On to another offbeat story that could leave you scratching your head. Have you often wondered why your pet cats are licking each other? Has this left you wondering if they are lovingly grooming each other or just being nice to each other? What really is going on? As it turns out, you may have been reading the moment entirely wrong. That adorable display of affection could actually be a subtle way to irritate or intimidate a rival. A new study by researchers at Belgium's Ghent University claiming that cats sometimes use grooming not to show affection but to actually dominate or pressure another cat without actually starting a fight. It's their unique way. The research began after an animal behavior scientist noticed her own cats competing for a sunny sleeping spot. And that observation led researchers to analyze videos of 106 cats from 53 households. The team studied body posture, movement, ear position, and physical contact during the grooming sessions. And they found that while grooming often strengthens social bonds, it can also become a subtle form of intimidation. According to the researchers, cats mostly groomed hard-to-reach areas like the head, the neck, or the ears, showing that some grooming is simply practical. But then in tense encounters, the signs were quite different. The cat doing the grooming often stood over the other, while the one being groomed flattened its ears, shook its head, tried to move away, or even swiped and bit. One animal grooming another is seen in many species, of course, like monkeys, wolves, dogs, lions. It's usually associated with hygiene, relaxation, and the formation of social bonds. The study, published in the Applied Animal Behavior Science Journal, concludes that what appears to be grooming by cats may sometimes be just a subtle strategy to try and settle conflicts and establish control, proving that even your pet cat, can play mind games. Onto a bizarre story, a development, an unusual case coming in from Karnataka. A 65-year-old woman has been arrested after she allegedly performed a black magic ritual inside a courtroom in an apparent way to try and sway the outcome of a family's civil dispute, allegedly. The Karnataka police arrested the accused. As per reports, she entered the courtroom of the first additional senior civil judge and judicial magistrate, first class, and allegedly scattered white mustard seeds on the judge's dais to try and allegedly influence the legal proceedings. The act reportedly came to light after CCTV cameras inside the courtroom captured the incident. Court officials reportedly reviewed the footage and alerted the police as well. And the police have registered a case in the matter under the Karnataka Prevention and Eradication of Inhuman Evil Practices and Black Magic Act 2017. And a court has remanded the woman to 14 days of judicial custody while the investigators examine the motive and whether anyone else was involved. This summer's biggest fashion trend might not be coming from the runway, it is coming straight from the football stands, it seems. Inspired by the stylish wives and girlfriends of football stars, also known as WAGs, ultra-short, sporty shorts are making a major comeback. Also being called WAG shorts, this trend is actually giving the bold 2000s look a fresh new spin. Let's tell you more about it. The style first stole the spotlight during the 2006 FIFA World Cup. WAGs became fashion icons in those micro shorts, fitted tank tops, aviator sunglasses, oversized designer bags. 2 decades later, the look is actually making a comeback. This time, football WAGs, in fact, are leading the trend reportedly, and they are styling running shorts, tiny denim cutoffs for effortless stadium fashion. Several celebrities, including Hailey Bieber, and Charlize Theron have also embraced this sporty look. The craze is showing up in stores as well. Stores have reported a 600% surge in searches for mini shorts. Fashion experts saying reportedly it's all about balance, pair sporty shorts with crisp shirts, blazers or chic sandals to try and elevate the look. But unlike the flashy wag style of the 2000s, today's version is more polished and understated. The focus is on elevated basics, tailored pieces and effortless styling. It's less about following a trend as such and more about wearing it all with confidence. Time now to get you the most powerful image of the day. In a rather heartwarming, emotional moment at the IIT Madras convocation, a mother and son walked onto the stage together to receive their degrees. The 45-year-old and her 21-year-old son graduated together from the Institute's Data Science and Applications program. What a remarkable moment. And here's a look at what is expected to unfold over the next 24 hours. The three major events set to shape headlines around the world tomorrow. The landmark India-UK Free Trade Agreement coming into force on Wednesday, marking one of the biggest trade partnerships for both nations and expected to boost bilateral trade and commerce. Representatives from more than 60 countries gather in Washington, D.C. for a summit focused on countering the resurgence of political terrorism and strengthening international cooperation. World leaders, scientists, policymakers convene in Paris on July 15 as UNESCO launches its global conference on the International Decade of Sciences for Sustainable Development. And on that note, it's a wrap on this edition of GRAVITAS Tonight. This is me, Molly Gambhir, signing off. Thanks very much for watching.
Get the latest updates. Breaking news. Credible, clear, continuous. Experts across aisles. Diverse voices, one platform. The WION World is one.
In this rapidly changing world, is your health keeping pace? Best practices and breakthroughs, busting the hype with real insights. The timeless power of yoga and ancient healing. Good food, good mood. Small steps, big impact. Your health matters. Only on WION World is One. Because nothing matters more.
In-depth coverage of global issues broken down into facts, figures, and simple words. Backed with analysis from field experts who truly matter, because we believe in decoding the real picture for you. So you get a much wider and deeper understanding of stories from around the world, a 360-degree analysis. An award-winning documentary series, week after week creating the maximum impact. Watch WION Wide Angle at these times on WION World is One.
Campaigns, elections, alliances, controversies, and power play. Stories that analyze global and domestic politics. A dedicated show with varied perspectives, expert take, citizens' voices, detailed ground reports, and in-depth coverage from political corridors of the world. This is Race to Power, only on WION.
WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION, World is One.
In-depth coverage of global issues broken down into facts, figures, and simple words. Backed with analysis from field experts who truly matter, because we believe in decoding the real picture for you. So you get a much wider and deeper understanding of stories from around the world, a 360-degree analysis. An award-winning documentary series, week after week creating the maximum impact. Watch WION Wide Angle at these times on WION World is One.
The Israeli drone is above our heads all the time in Lebanon. More than 200,000 civilian homes have been destroyed. This looks like it used to be a toy for a little girl. Can't but wonder while I'm walking between all of this rubble, how many lives were destroyed, how many kids were traumatized, how many women lost their families. If this isn't a war crime, then what is? From the southern suburb of Beirut, I'm Radi Francis for WION World is One.
In-depth coverage of global issues broken down into facts, figures, and simple words. Backed with analysis from field experts who truly matter, because we believe in decoding the real picture for you. So you get a much wider and deeper understanding of stories from around the world, a 360-degree analysis. An award-winning documentary series, week after week creating the maximum impact. Watch WION Wide Angle at these times on WION World is One.
WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION, World is One.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. This is WION World is One. We're glad you're watching. Time now for Powers. I'm Eric Njoka. The headlines. President Trump says he's scrapping a planned levy on ships transiting the Strait of Hormuz a day after he announced it and replaces the fee with trade deals with Gulf allies. Iran media says explosions are heard Tuesday on Iran's Gulf island of Keshem near the Strait of Hormuz amid renewed hostilities between the U.S. and the Islamic Republic. Explosions also heard in Kuwait City as the Gulf nation's army announces for the second time in less than half an hour that it was intercepting hostile targets. President Trump hosts Iraq's new Prime Minister Ali al-Zaidi at the White House. This as the administration pursues a series of diplomatic engagements in Washington and Rome to address escalating tensions in West Asia. Yemen's Iran-backed Houthis say they shot down a Saudi-operated reconnaissance drone as hostilities erupted a day earlier between the two sides for the first time in years. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov accuses Ukraine of attacking commercial vessels in the Sea of Azov and the Black Sea in what he called acts of terrorism. The Indian Ministry of External Affairs says that the passport is a document issued by the government to regulate the departure of Indian citizens from the country and not a citizenship proof. The statement came amid a raging debate over whether it can be used as a visa or a VE. Cuba's power grid fails for the third time in less than 10 days, sparking another nationwide blackout. This is the third complete blackout of the Caribbean island since early July and the fifth since the start of this year. This showcases its military power and unity, with allies holding its largest ever Bastille Day parade with Ukraine's president guest of honor as European rearmament gathers pace in the face of Russia's war against Ukraine. West Asia is now teetering on the edge of a wider war. The U.S. has launched a fresh wave of strikes across Iran and Tehran. It has unleashed its advanced ballistic arsenal across U.S. bases in the Gulf in retaliatory attacks. Our next report decodes how the military confrontation is playing out between the U.S. and Iran in the region.
Missiles